Hey everybody, welcome to Stewie's Thoughts Podcast, episode 55. And today I'm going to give you my thoughts about things that you thought you knew. Now, this is going to make you a lot smarter, this episode. Once you finish listening to this episode, you're going to be able to bend things with your mind. You don't get that with any other podcast, do you? So without further ado, I think we should just get stuck into it, shall we? Play the intro. So before we get into it, guys, you know the score. I'm going to give you my thoughts about what I've been up to recently. And guess what? I've got nothing to report. Only to the podcast the other day. And I have not done any events since then. It's literally quiet time this month. So what actually have I been up to in my personal life? Well, if you can listen to this audio, right? Listen to this. Pa, pa, fa, fa, fa. It's a lot better. The sound quality for me listening to it on the headphones is a lot better than what it's been. And I know I keep banging on about it, right? I know I do. I know you're sitting in the house going,
oh my God, he's talking about the sound quality yet again. I'm fed up with this. I'm going to start listening to a different podcast.
Don't do that. I'm almost at the finish line when it comes to the sound quality. So I've got these little foam things that goes around the actual microphone itself. And this is where things, I think, are sort of almost finalizing. I think, like, I've got the microphones. There's nothing more I can do to them. I've got the windscreen thing. I've got the proper placement. It's right at the corner of my mouth. There's nothing more I can do with the microphone to make it sound any better than what it is. I've been having a proper go at this Rodecaster thing. And I've been going through the presets, all this kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I think that I've got the best preset now. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to leave it now. So I'm just going to not do anything more for the foreseeable, I can still hear it a little bit, foreseeable future. So don't worry, I'm not going to be banging on about sound quality anymore for a while. I think I'm just going to get used to, stick to what I'm doing now. Stick with it, and then over time, maybe make some adjustments. If you know, the problem I have is I'm constantly trying to like change things over and over and over without getting used to it. Do you know what I mean? I need to like get used to this, and then over time, maybe do small little adjustments, and then I'll be able to pick up on it. You know, when I'm hearing it, I'm like, oh, that sounds a bit different. But for now, it's literally like. It almost, a lot of it sounds the same, but it changes a little bit. I don't know. But what I'm going to do is I'm not going to bang on about it. I'm not going to mess around with this Rodecaster thing anymore. I've basically, I'm happy with the way things are at the minute. And I'm just going to leave it like this for a while. And then, you know, something might come along where I'm like, oh, I might try that. And then it might be a little bit different. But who knows? Because I know I'm boring everybody with the sound quality, but like I say in the last episode, like I'm trying to not just do it for me, but also do it for you guys as well. So if you're listening and you're thinking yourself, oh, I got a Rodecaster and I don't know what to do with it, listen to my episodes. I go in depth and tell you exactly how to do it. And the other night I was listening to my podcast and I was actually comparing it to other podcasts, like big ones. And my sound quality is up there. It's up there. It's up there. And then, yeah. So I'm pretty happy with the sound quality. So we're putting it to bed for now. I'm not going to mention it anymore. I don't know what I'm going to talk about now, but I'm just going to leave it at that. And then over time, maybe make some adjustments. But for now, I'm pretty happy. I don't know what else I can do. Because I think that, I mean, other than the presets, right, and then the gain thing and everything else, like I think that's it now. I think that there's nothing more I can do. I'm just having a little look here. I mean, I can make my own preset. So instead of like listening to people like on YouTube or whatever, I could actually just do my own one, but I'm not going to do that. No, me, if I do that, it'll end up sounding worse. Like,
End up sounding like this all the time. No, right. So
I'm just going to leave it be. That'll do. And yeah, I'm not going to go on about it anymore. You're all probably sitting there going,
thank God. If I hear Roadcaster one more time, I'm gonna absolutely lose my. I'm done. I'm done listening to him talking about this stupid sound quality. Every day it's sound quality.
I agree. I'm sick of listening to it too. Sound quality this, sound quality that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try some experiment. Grow up, Stewie. Grow up.
That's exactly what everybody's saying right now listening to this. I bet you're sitting there listening to this and you're like, I agree. I absolutely agree. Well, guess what? I hear you. Right? And now you're probably thinking to yourselves,
oh, this stupid soundboard. Flip's sake. I have to listen to farts all the time. I'm sick of this episode. I'm sick of this podcast. I'm going to listen to a podcast that talks about the Bible. At least they don't have any fart sounds on it. Stupid podcast. I'm going to block Stewie Staw's podcast from my phone.
don't do that. Oh, right. What else have I been up to? I let the cat out earlier on. You know, I was all ready to go to the office, and the cat just looked at me. You know, the cat just looked at me like, oh, wrong button. Wrong button again.
Excuse me, Mr. Owen. Excuse me, Stewie.
Yes, Tabby.
I would like to go outside and play.
I can't, Tabby. I've got to go to the office and do some emails and receipts and, you know, standard business stuff.
But you don't understand. I'm a predator. I belong outside. I don't belong in here. I don't belong in here lying on the sofa, doing nothing all day and getting fed. I've got a roof over my head. I get food whenever I want, but I need to be outside.
But Tabby, I have to go to the office. But no, don't look at me with them big sad eyes.
All I want to do is go outside. Why won't you just let me go out?
Because I've got to go to the office.
Just let me out for 10 minutes. That's all I'm asking for. 10 minutes you're not going to miss me. You're not even going to know I'm outside.
But Tabby, if I let you out for 10 minutes, I need to get to the office. Like, I've got so much stuff to do. And then she just literally just stares at me, stares right into my soul. And then I just instantly question everything. Do I need to go to the office? Can everything that needs to be done today, can it be done tomorrow? And while I'm thinking about this, I'm looking at her eyes and I'm like, yes, everything that needs to be done today can be done tomorrow. Then let the cat out. Just let the cat out. Let her out. Let her be free to chase butterflies. And then you just wait until Kirsty comes home. And then go into the office. I tell you, my cat, she's got like superpowers. All she has to do is just look at me. Like she'll look at the door. And then she'll look at me. And I know telepathically. I know what she wants. Even though I can't do it, I'm like, I need to get to the office. I've got people, clients, waiting for my emails, waiting for an invoice. soon as you look at her in the eyes, it's like, who cares about anybody anymore? Just let her out. And then I open the door, and then she just runs out, going,
See you later, sucker! He falls for it every time.
if you've got a cat, you know what I'm on. You know what it is. You know what it's like. And we can't actually get a cat flap because A, we don't own the house. We're renting it. And B, our back door is all like glass. So like we can't just get like a cheap door or whatever, or even just cut a cat flap into the back door and then change the door if we're like moving house. You know, it's glass. So we can't like cut a hole through glass. And then our front door, it's one of them stable doors, so it's like a door that goes in two halves. And it's like PVC, or I don't know what you call it. So it's very expensive. It's a very expensive door. And we did have a wooden one. And it's just literally just like a normal front door, but there's two parts to it. So you can open the top half, or you can open the bottom half. Not once has that ever like come handy. I've never in my life opened just like one half. You know, like if you're getting a delivery or something, like, how weird would it be if you're a postman and then you go to somebody's house and then you knock the door and then half the door opens, like the top half, and then someone's staring at you going, "Can I help you? Yeah, I've got some post for you." I'd be like, "You're a weirdo. Open the whole door. Why you open half of the door? I mean, what's the point of like the bottom half? That'd be even funnier, wouldn't it?" Like, postman at the door, just open the bottom half of the door so all he sees is my legs. And then just put my hand underneath the door to collect it. Do you know what? I'm stupid enough to do that. I'm actually going to do that one day. Mark my words. I'm going to do that. Not to the postman, because that'll be weird. I might get like a food delivery or something, and then just like open the bottom half of the door and just put my arm out. Man. Yeah. What would you think of somebody if somebody did that to you? You'd be like, weirdo. So we can't put a cat flap in the front of the door. And the thing is, we had the wooden one, right? And then there was a draft coming into the house, and the landlord was just like, I'll put a new door in for you. And I was like, happy days, we're gonna get a new door, and hopefully it's a full door. No, he buys, or she buys, I don't even know, I've never met my landlord. It all goes through Kirsty. I just give Kirsty money, she does it all. And next thing you know, they were like, "Oh, we got a new door put in. Happy days." It's another half door thing, but it's like a modern one. It's got like an anti-break thing, like you can't break into it. Like, it's really high, sophisticated half opening door type thing. I'm pretty sure it's called a stable door. But I was just like, why not just give us a full door, like a normal door? And what they given my address away. We live in actually number 10, and the front of it, our front door is black, and it's got white number 10 on it, so it looks like 10 Downing Street. So I'm like, I'm the Prime Minister of the street. No, I'm not. But what else? So we can't put a cat flap there. So we don't have any cat flaps available in this house. The other option was to open it like a bay window. Like our windows, like they're not like normal windows. They like slant. We got a weird house. Come to think of it, we got a up house. Like the room I'm in now, the window is like at an angle. And we were thinking about like just opening the window and then she can get out. Because, cats can, they can climb. So there is enough like things that she can go down and go up if she wanted to come in and out of the house. But I don't know. At the minute, what we're doing is if we're in the house, we just leave the back door open a little bit and then she just runs in and out. But our back door is in our living room. So our house is like open plan thing. And we have our living room. And then we've got massive windows to the left of the living room, depending on where you're sitting. And then the right. And then on the left, we've got our kitchen and stuff. It's all open plan. And then we've got like a table and chairs and all this kind of stuff, like a dining area. But it's all like one. So our back door is basically in our living room, if that makes sense. So if we open up the back door a little bit, we're just literally opening up the window. Now, the summertime, it's fine because it's warm enough. But over the last couple of days, it's gotten a little bit chilly. And Kirsty's leaving the door, and I'm like coming down and instantly freezing. You know, like that scene from, what's that film called? Day After Tomorrow. You know, where the helicopters go down and they crash, and then like the pilots get out and he instantly freezes. That's what I'm like. When I go down to the room, I'm like, it's cold down here. Kirsty's like, okay, I'll close the door. And she closes the door, and I'm like, well, great. Now it's instantly warm. Not. Takes a while for the place to heat up, so I started having to use the heater again. And then we do have like a fly net thing, so no flies can get in, because before we had that, she was just leaving the door open, and every fly in the earth, like in the whole planet, was just like,
Yo, check that out. There's a door open there. Let's all go in there. And we'll plague this house.
the amount of flies. I think I remember I captured 15 in one day. And I was like, you know, you're sitting there watching TV, all of a sudden, boom, a little fly flies past you.
Excuse me, don't mind me. Don't, just mind your own business here.
Like, and I was like, I'm going to have to catch that. I'm not one of them ones that, you know, I don't want to be cruel and kill them when you don't need to, even though it's just a little fly. But like, Kirsty at the beginning, she was getting them things that hang from the ceiling, you know, them sticky things. And it just looks like an absolute genocide with all these like flies that fly onto it. And they fly onto it, and then it doesn't kill them. I don't think it does anyway, but they just stick to it, and then they just die slowly. I'm like, that's so inhumane. I know it's a fly, like, but I'm like, you don't want to be doing that. And then I don't want to go around swatting them or anything and killing them. Like, basically what I do is I've got it's like a crab net. You know, like if you go crabbing, it's got like I think it's called a crab net, where you like catch crabs and stuff. It's that. So it almost looks like it almost looks like a, what do you call them? No, not basketball. What do you call them? Tennis ball. It looks like a tennis racket thing, but it's like a net on it. And I just run around the house, just once I grab them, once I get them in the net, then I start spinning the net. Centrifugal force for all you guys out there. So the fly can't get out. Then open the back door, and then I just wiggle it, and then the fly goes out. You know, way it goes. Minds its own business. It doesn't have to die. So I saved countless lives, flies' lives that goes in this house. I've saved them all. But there we go. That's what I've been up to recently. And I think without further ado, let's get into the topic, things that you thought you knew. Now, I'm stealing that sort of phrase from Star Talk. Star Talk is a podcast that I listen to quite a lot, and they have sections in it called things that you thought you knew. And, you know, nope, is that copyrighted? Who knows? I'm probably going to get sued, but there's, you know, I'm going to be using some things from that podcast on here, but I'm also going to be, I've learned things over the, you know, my lifespan, if you like. Like, I used to think of things this way, and then I was like, no, that's the way you thought you knew it. When actually that's wrong. This is the way it actually is. And over the last few years, especially, there's things that I've learned that I thought were, you know, the way I was. Oh, just play the intro. I'm confusing myself. We'll get stuck on this, shall we? So I'm going to start off by how am I going to start off? Probably stuff that I thought I knew. So like, there's sayings. So one saying I often heard of as I was, you know, growing up was the graveyard shift. Do you know why they call it the graveyard shift? So this is what my understanding is, and then I'm going to actually Google it and see if I'm actually right. So we're going to start off by things that maybe I thought I knew, and then see if I get it right. So from my understanding, the graveyard shift is the reason why they call it the graveyard shift, because when is a graveyard shift? It's like nighttime, isn't it? So like 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever, that's the graveyard shift. That's what everyone says, isn't it? So my understanding is back in the 1800s, there was like people, they were I don't know, catching some disease or something. Lead, from what I remember, it was something to do with lead. So somebody, like lead poisoning, for example, right? So somebody would get like lead poisoning and then they would go into like a coma. But back in them days, they didn't have like the technology we have now. So they go into like some sort of a deep coma. And then the people back in them days thought that they were dead. So they would bury them, only to find out that they weren't actually dead, that they were actually in a coma. And then they came out of the coma and they were actually buried alive. And, you know, I wasn't around back in the 1800s. And they must have found out. So what they did was, if they suspected that you were in a coma or whatever, what they would do is they would bury you, and then in your grave, in your coffin, should I say, there would be like a string that's attached to a bell that's next to your gravestone. And that, you know, if you did come out of your coma or whatever, and you're like, holy crap, I'm in a grave, like I'm in a coffin. What's going on here? I can't get out. And then, oh, there's a little string, and then you tap the string, and then a bell rings, and then somebody will hear the bell and go, oh, we need to dig this person out because this person's still alive. Now, during the day, there'd be like loads of people walking around the graveyard or whatever, and they would hear the bell. Ling, ling, ling. They would hear the bell, and they would, you know, alert the grave diggers or whatever to get you out. But at nighttime, there was nobody around. So one person would actually walk around the graveyard at like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, spooky job that. Spooky job that. Walking around the graveyard, listening for bells. How weird would that be? But so somebody would walk around and listen for the bells, and that would be like their sort of job. Like, they walk around and then they listen for the bells, and that's why you call it the graveyard shift. Now, I've just googled it, and the term graveyard shift, sometimes called the graveyard watch, especially in a maritime setting, originates from America in the late 1800s. It refers to the early hours of the morning when all is quiet, to the extent that it seems eerie or ghostly, like a graveyard. When people were so fearful of being buried alive, they would be buried with a string attached to a bell on the surface. I was right. In the 18th century, there you go. So I was right. Things that you thought you knew, things that I thought I knew. But there you go. That's one thing. So next time someone's like, "Oh, I'm doing a graveyard shift," you'll be like, "Do you know why? Do you know why they call it that?" Now you're going to be able to tell them. So instantly, you've learned something. What other things that I know? I know that the sun doesn't actually heat the air up. So whenever you're, a hot summer's day and you're on the beach and it's really hot outside, what actually happens is radiation comes from the sun and bounces off surfaces on the planet and then turns it into infrared heat, which actually heats the air up. So the sun actually doesn't heat the air up. The sun heats the ground up. That heats the air up using infrared heat. Now, I heard this from Star Talk podcast, and so I'm gonna play a video from him explaining it, because let's face it, Neil deGrasse Tyson can definitely explain it better than me. Right now, I tried to find a video, but I can't find Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about it. It was on one of his episodes, so maybe he doesn't actually have a video of it. But I do have another video that's got Professor Brian Cox, and he's basically explaining what I was saying. So here is one of my favorite scientists. I've got a load of them, but he's what do you call him? What's his name again? God, I literally just said his name. Why can't I? It's not Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's Brian Cox, that's the one, right? So here's Brian Cox basically explaining what I was trying to explain.
Hey, I've got a brilliant one for you. Did you know that the sun doesn't actually heat the air around us? Space is flooded with the sun's energy, but it's not hot until it hits something like your skin, the ground, or the oceans. The air? It stays surprisingly cold. You can see this yourself if you climb high enough. Where airplanes cruise around 10 to 12 kilometers up the air is absolutely freezing. We're talking minus 50 degrees Celsius, even though the sun is right there, blazing away above the clouds. In fact, if you stepped out of an airplane without a suit, you wouldn't just freeze, your blood would start to boil, because there's so little pressure up there. So next time you feel the warmth of the sun, remember, it's not the air that's getting hot, it's you.
So that's a video from Project FGA on TikTok. But you see what I mean? So the sun doesn't actually heat the air up. What the sun is actually doing is heating the surfaces up. And I'm pretty sure that the radiation, once it hits the ground, for example, then it turns into infrared heat. And then, if it's like a summer's day and you look at a road and you can see that wavy sort of thing, mirage type thing, I think that's what it is. So there you go, everybody. You now know that the sun doesn't actually heat the air up. You know what graveyard shift means. Right, let's see if I can find some more here. So things that you thought you knew. And see if there's there's loads of videos, but I want to see if I can get 10 things you thought you knew. The wingspan. What? What's this, about dolphins or something? We have 5 senses. We have 5 senses. 5? So hang on, let's break them down here. So touch, smell, vision, hearing. What other ones is there? Sound, hearing, taste. Did I say taste? So sight, sound, hearing, taste, touch. Oh yeah, okay. Did you know that? Pretty much everybody did. Lead pencils used to have lead? Huh? Lead pencils used to have lead. The story goes back to the wooden pencils used to have lead. But once kids started to become sick, scientists found that leading to the poison. They found that lead was poisonous. Basically, that's when graphite came around to replace it. So pencils nowadays are graphite, and they're not actually lead. A lead pencil. So when did that change? I don't know. But it makes sense, doesn't it? A graphite pencil. So lead. I mean, what were they doing? Eating the pencils? Just crunching away at a pencil? St. Patrick is Irish. St. Paddy's Day is a day where people who are Irish or have Irish descent observe the death of St. Patrick, a patron saint of Ireland. The way people portray him in the green and bright, St. Patrick was actually kidnapped from the Great Britain and then taken to Ireland. The reason he's celebrated in Ireland is because he converted to the religious beliefs of Christianity and taught people of Ireland. So, yeah, do you know what? I did a whole podcast about St. Patrick. So if you want to listen to that, you might have to go onto Apple Podcasts and go back to episode whatever. It was actually one of my early episodes. What other ones we got here? This is nonsense. This one. Daddy longlegs are venomous. I heard about that. I heard that daddy longlegs are actually venomous. It's just their fangs don't penetrate the human skin further enough. So like, I mean, daddy long legs, horrible things. Horrible things. The way they just fly and just these long legs hanging on. But they're actually, the daddy long legs, those spiders you find in your house that are actually, that you're so scared of because they're highly venomous. Eggs are usually American, blah, 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 blah. They have 0 venom in them. Where's them before completely harmed? So they're not venomous. They're not venomous. They have 0 venom in them. God, jeez. I don't know. Do you know something? I'm going to play like a little video about things that you thought you knew. And let's see if we can actually get some experts in this, up in this. 100 things you thought you knew. Gift Republic. This is not a video. Oh, it's an actual book. Right, I'm gonna see if I can find some juicy things that you thought you knew, and then I'll get back to you. I'll play the advert, actually. Good time to play the advert. Hey everybody, this podcast is sponsored by YouTunes. Looking for something to make your wedding day extra special? Maybe you're hosting a corporate event, or even planning a birthday party, or a jago, or a bar mitzvah. The list goes on. Have you thought about hiring a caricature artist? Well, look no further than YouTunes. YouTunes offers a professional, full-time, multi-award winning caricature artist on hand to draw and entertain you and your guests. Not only will they leave with a very unique keepsake from your event, they will also be entertained by the eye-watering, side-splitting stand-up comedy performed by the artist while he draws. Having a caricature artist at your event will definitely make it a unique experience for your guests. YouTunes covers all over Britain and the Channel Islands, and their prices are reasonable and affordable. If you want to get more information about this, please get in contact with them through their website, utunes.co.uk. That's the letter UTOONS.co.uk, or simply just Google YouTunes. You can find them on all social media platforms as well. So get in touch, guys, and hire a caricature artist for your event. Back to the podcast. Okay, welcome back. I have got a video here from YouTube, and it's from Hectic Express, and it's 23 false facts you thought were true. That's what we're talking about. This is what I'm after. And you know something? This is like a learning curve for me. Like, I come on here, and it's literally, I just wing it. I even though I've got a sheet, as you can hear, I actually have a sheet that, you know, it's got fun facts there, and it's got spaces for me to write fun facts, and it's got bullet points. I think I've only used it properly once, and the rest of the time I've just come on here and I've literally just improvised. And I remember doing an episode not long ago where I actually used the sheet, and I was thinking to myself, wow, that had actually worked. So how about Stewie, right? How about you actually use the sheet that you designed? How about that? I just voice cracked. So I need to like prepare more instead of just literally coming on here and just winging it. I think I need to write stuff down and make it like more of a structure. I've got the system in place to make a good structure to it, and I just don't use it. I literally just go, I'll talk about things that you thought you knew, and then I'll just wing it. But next episode, I actually want to do one about the moon landing. And what I'm going to do is the night before the episode, I'm actually going to write bullet points down, and then we're going to see how well and how well structured that episode will be. But anyway, we have got, because one of the things I keep interrupting myself. How can you interrupt yourself? I do it all the time. But like, what was I going to say? I interrupted myself, and I just don't know what I was going to say. Like, what is wrong with me? We'll just move on. So we have, actually, no, now. Whenever I'm like searching for something, it's not good listening whenever I sit and I start typing stuff into Google and then reading it when you're sitting there listening, like it shouldn't be doing that anymore. So that's another thing I'm going to work on. Now I've worked on, the old sound quality. Promised I wouldn't say that again. But now I'm going to start actually working on the sheet and, the actual podcast itself. Now I'm going to focus on that. My main focus was the sound. Now I'm just going to leave that, and now I'm going to get more structure with this podcast. So, like, I'm going to work on that now instead of the sound quality. So, the content, should I say. I'm going to work on the content from now on. Anywho, moving on. We've got 23 false facts you thought were true. This video was uploaded on the YouTube 5 years ago, and it's only got 343 views. Why? And I haven't even listened to this yet. So, what's the reason for that? This is another thing. I should watch a video before I actually talk about it, shouldn't I? Do you think I should do that, shouldn't I? Well done. Right, anyway, let's play this video.
From bananas growing on trees and bulls seeing red to blind bats, horned...
Let me stop you there. Where, right, this is a question for you listening. Where do pineapples grow? You're probably thinking to yourself, a pineapple tree? Wrong. Do you have a wrong button? Oh, I might need to get myself a wrong button. Fail. That's not right. Wrong. There's no such thing as a pineapple tree. There you go. Things you thought you knew.
Viking helmets and nails growing after death. Here are 23 false facts you probably thought were true.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about. 23.
This too will pass. Don't swallow your gum, or it'll take 7 years to digest. Or so we were told. But
Yep. That's I remember that. And I don't chew chewing gum. And I actually remember one time I actually did swallow it when I was a kid, and I felt like I was going to die. I was like, oh my God, that's going to be in my system now for another 7 years. So
experts say that while a portion of gum is indigestible, it will simply pass through the gastrointestinal tract to be released. As for the portion that is digestible, it won't stick in your system and gum up your intestine, but it will be digested within a normal span of time. 22.
there you go.
Using deodorant causes cancer. Now first you have to recognize the difference between
Using deodorant causes cancer? I've never heard that.
deodorants and antiperspirant. Antiperspirants used...
What did it... Cause of death? Lynx Africa. Dove. I don't even know. Hand lotion? I don't know. Is that deodorant? No. Sure for men.
Aluminum-based ingredients to keep your sweat glands under control. Deodorants typically do not contain aluminum, but can contain compounds that kill bacteria.
Hey, aluminium. Aluminium. Not aluminum. Aluminium.
While they don't keep you from sweating, they do serve to mask the odor. It's actually the aluminum used in underarm antiperspirants
Aluminium. Aluminium.
that has...
I hate that. Aluminum. Aluminum. It's aluminium. Right, back to the video.
led to concerns that the material can increase the risk of breast cancer if used over long periods of time. However, according...
Who's spraying their tits? Is tits a bad word? I don't think it is. So they're saying you can get cancer from deodorant. You can get breast cancer from deodorant. I might have to... Hang on, I go back a little bit here because I have interrupted this so much that I've actually kind of ruined it. Right, here we go. Listen to this guy.
...to be released. As for the portion that is digestible, it won't stick in your system and gum up your intestine, but it will be digested within a normal span of time.
Right, here we go.
22. Using deodorant causes cancer. Now first you have to recognize the difference between deodorants and antiperspirant. Antiperspirants used aluminum-based ingredients to keep your sweat glands under control. Deodorants typically do not contain aluminum, but can contain compounds that kill bacteria. While they don't keep you from sweating, they do serve to mask the odor. It's actually the aluminum used in underarm antiperspirants that has led to concerns that the material can increase the risk of breast cancer if used over long periods of time. However, according to the American Cancer Society, there is little, if any, scientific evidence to support that claim. 21.
Well, there you go. Obviously, like women's breasts and then their armpit, there's, it's kind of linked, isn't it? Ish. So so people are thinking that it seeps in there and then goes into the breast. Or I'm sure I can say titties on here, can't I? Is it a bad? I don't think it's a bad word, is it? It's a funny word. Titties. And yeah, so there you go. Deodorant the hell out of your armpits, guys. You're not going to get cancer, according to this.
Carbohydrates equals weight gain. If you want it to time. However, according to the American Cancer Society, there is little, if any, scientific evidence to support that claim. 21. Carbohydrates equals weight gain. If you want to lose weight, you're often told to cut down on the carbs. But many experts say that there's nothing necessarily fattening about carbohydrates. Grains, vegetables, and fruits contain complex carbs that are vital because they supply the body with energy. If you're going to cut down on carbohydrates, focus on the ones that are refined or simple, such as foods that contain high amounts of white flour and or sugar. 20.
Okay. There you go.
Cracking knuckles. Now do this and you increase your chances of getting arthritis. But aside from the sound, the practice causes little more than an annoyance. Cracking or popping sound is caused by air being displaced in the joints and or ligaments and tendons that are stretching over the surface of the joints. 19.
There you go. So he's saying that if you crack your knuckles, you won't get arthritis. Is that what he said? Sorry.
Flour and or sugar. 20. Cracking knuckles. Now do this and you increase your chances of getting arthritis. But aside from the sound, the practice causes little more than an annoyance. Cracking or popping sound is caused by air being displaced in the joints and or ligaments and tendons that are stretching over the surface of the joints. 19.
So there you go. So if you crack your knuckles or anything, you're not actually going to get arthritis. I always thought that you would get arthritis. Now, I also thought that when you're cracking your knuckles, you're actually like snapping like bone. You know what I mean? Like two bones are like snapping together or something, but it's air pockets. Like pockets of air. I've never cracked my knuckles. Like on purpose. I have accidentally done it a few times, but it freaks me out. I don't know how people can just sit there and go pop, 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 pop. Like that's me just slap myself. I can't crack my knuckles. But isn't it weird? Like, where does the air? Because when you're cracking when you're like, is a correct term popping your knuckles? When you're popping the air out of your knuckles, where does it go? Like if you do it underwater and you crack your, pop your knuckles, does a little bubble come out of your knuckle? Bloop, bloop, bloop. But there you go. Keep doing it, guys. You're not going to get arthritis. It's fine.
Fresh veggies. Growing up, maybe you heard that fresh vegetables are better for you than their frozen counterparts.
Yeah.
But many studies have asserted that frozen fruits and veggies can be just as nutritious. From the time they're picked on farms to the time they arrive at your local grocery, fruits and vegetables can lose a lot of the nutrients. But the frozen varieties can actually retain the nutrients better because
Well, there you go.
they are immediately processed once picked. 18.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So, frozen peas, that makes sense. What button have I got here? So that makes sense. So whenever they're picked from the field or whatever, as soon as they're picked, they're instantly frozen, which traps in the freshness, doesn't it? And then whenever it comes to you, it stays frozen. And then when it comes to you, you just melt it and defrost it or whatever. And then it's almost like it's just been picked. Whereas if you get like strawberries or whatever, and then you or not strawberries, that's a bad one. Whatever. If you pick it from a field and you don't freeze it, by the time it gets to you, it'll have been like almost like decomposing. Is that a right word? I don't know. But that makes sense. That actually makes sense.
Alcohol relieves the chill.
Oh, here we go. Alcohol, guys.
A lot of the nutrients, but the frozen varieties can actually retain the nutrients better because they are immediately.
I love like not having to put the phone up to the microphone. I can like literally just hold this phone anywhere I want, and it doesn't change the sound effect. Like it doesn't change the sound quality. Sorry, like this is amazing. Before I was like holding it up to the microphone, and it sounded really terrible. But now I can just sit and watch these videos.
Once picked. 18. Alcohol relieves the chill. The idea that alcohol warms you up is partially true because drinking it can make your skin feel warm. But what happens is that veins have to pump more blood because alcohol dilates blood vessels and lowers your body temperature. The process actually causes the core heat of your body to dissipate. 17.
That brings me onto something here. So, did you know, right, when you eat ice cream on a hot day, it actually heats you up? Have I got a button? No, wrong one. It heats you up. Let me explain, right? Whenever you're on a beach and you're really warm and you're like, oh, I'm so hot. I need something to cool me down. And you see a little ice cream van over there. Or as we like to call it in Northern Ireland, a pokey van. Get a poke from the pokey van. That's what we used to say when we were kids. I don't even know why we call it a poke. But if you're on like a hot summer's beach, right? And you're like, oh, I need to cool down, and then you get an ice cream. We like a Mr. Whippy or whatever you want to call it, an ice cream with an ice cream cone, and you know the soft ice cream, right? Whatever. And when you're actually licking it, right? Yes, it's cold. And it may cool your mouth down or whatever. And it may, lower your body temperature for like, I don't know, the first 10 seconds or something when you're eating it. But as soon as your body starts digesting it, all the proteins and stuff, once it starts digesting it, then your core body actually heats up. So you actually heat yourself up. So you may eat an ice cream now on a hot summer's day, but in 45 minutes, you're going to be absolutely sweating your off. Right, let's get back into this.
Eat more protein. Almost any food in the grocery store these days has been pumped up with an extra dose of protein. And that's understandable since the micronutrient can help with muscle growth and weight loss. But too much of a good thing can be bad for you. An excess of protein can lead to kidney problems and might even make you gain weight. Experts say protein should make up no more than 15% of your daily diet, and that works out to about 55 grams for men and 45 grams for women. 16. Hot heads. Now, we are told that most of our body heat escapes from our heads, so we should wear a hat to keep warm. Many doctors...
No. Oh, I was always taught that if you heat your pulses up, keep your pulses warm, that heats your body up. So that's why you see like athletes and stuff and like that will have like a bracelet made out of cotton or whatever, or like a headband. Because what you're actually doing, because your pulses are actually what's pumping the blood. Well, the heart's pumping the blood, but the pulses work as well. So if you heat up your pulses, then as the blood's passed through the pulse, it heats up. Well, I interrupted this. This is probably what this person's going to say.
Consider this one a myth and say that no more than 10% of our body heat escapes through the head. Any exposed body part, including the hands and toes, can cause a disproportionate amount of heat to be lost. 15.
Okay.
Never wake up a sleepwalker. A number of fatal events might occur according to this popular myth. Waking a sleepwalker might cause shock, brain damage, or a heart attack.
My God, like this. So I'm actually watching this video, and there's a guy who's actually sleepwalking in his underwear out in the street. Is this for real? And there's a woman taking a video of him.
Say that such is not the case.
I've never ever known somebody to sleepwalk. I've never seen it. I've heard people talking in their sleep, but how weird would that be? If, like somebody sleepwalking and you walk, like, I don't know, it's weird.
do caution, however, that care must be taken when rousing the sleepwalker. They might be temporarily confused or so distressed that they might lash out at anyone in front of them. So it's best not to be in the way when the sleepwalker is woke. 14. Hollow black holes. Now, the name might imply empty space, but the galactic phenomena is not really hollow. Black holes occur when the center of a huge star collapses in upon itself, which causes a supernova or a exploding star. When matter has been densely packed into a tight space, that generates an incredible amount of...
And black holes, you don't get sucked into a black hole. A black hole is a hole. You fall into it. You don't get sucked into a black hole. There you go. Things you thought you knew.
Gravity so powerful that not even light can escape. Because of that, black holes are invisible and can only be detected with space.
And they actually think that our universe is in a black hole. How weird is that?
Telescopes equipped with special tools to locate them. 13. Brain power. Now, we've all heard the stories that we only use about 10% of our brain power. In fact, we're using all...
I have brought this up before. So you think that we only use 10% of our brain? Actually, no. That was actually misunderstood. At the time that was said, it was actually said there's only 10% we know what the brain can do. And then it got misunderstood. Oh, we only use 10% of our brain. No, we don't. We use it all. In fact, let's see what this person says.
Telescopes equipped with special tools to locate them. 13. Brain power. Now, we've all heard the stories that we only use about 10% of our brain power. In fact, we're using all the brain power we currently have, just not all at once. Neurologists compare our brains to a computer that contains software and programs, enabling it to perform a wide array of tasks. And like a computer, not every application is being used at a given time. When you're concentrating on a specific task, the parts of the brain most necessary to complete that job become more active. 12. Einstein flunked math. Now, those of us who were lacking in arithmetical skills could always take solace that even a genius like Albert Einstein failed at math. Fortunately, this one turns out to be a
Jesus. Oh, hang on.
myth that does not add up. It turns out...
God. Because I'm doing math and a physics degree. And if Einstein can't pass math, what chance have I got?
Skills could always take solace that even a genius like Albert Einstein failed at math. Fortunately, this one turns out to be a myth
thank
that
God.
does not add up.
I panicked
Turns out that Albert was quite adept at crunching the numbers when he was a youngster. By the time he was 15, he had already mastered differential and integral calculus. Now, part of this misunderstanding might stem from Einstein failing the entrance exam to a top-notch academy when he was 16. It was actually the non-science subjects like French which tripped him up, relatively speaking. 11.
Here, do you know the equation E equals mc squared? Do you know what it means? So E is energy, equals is obviously equal, m is mass, and then squared is the speed of light squared. So the equation is E equals mc squared. So E, energy, is equal to mass traveling at the speed of light times squared, whatever. Yeah, that's it. Something like that.
We have 5 senses, those being sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. Those are the 5 senses that we humans possess. Now, it sounds like it makes sense, but this is not the case.
Here's a sense for you. Here's a sense for you.
Senses is comprised of senses. As an example, our sense of touch can differentiate between pressure, vibration, temperature,
Hang on, I'm going to
pain.
have to play this back, sorry.
Top-notch academy
Hey,
when
Stewie,
he was 16.
stop interrupting the video. Let the listeners learn something.
It was actually the non-science subjects like French which tripped him up, relatively speaking. 11. We have 5 senses, those being sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. Those are the 5 senses that we humans possess. Now, it sounds like it makes sense, but this is not the case. And that's because each of the 5 main senses is comprised of senses. As an example, our sense of touch can differentiate between pressure, vibration, temperature, and pain, among other sensations. Now, given that definition, our additional senses would include the sense of balance, hunger, thirst, and breathing, among others. In fact, neurologists have tallied up as many as 21 senses possessed by humans. 10.
Well, there you go. Like, I literally brought that up in the start of this episode. So I thought there was 5, but now there's 20, whatever. How many he said? 20 odd? this sense of balance, the balance, that makes sense. So there you go. Things you thought you knew.
Dogs sweat by salivating. Now, it's a familiar sight and a familiar myth, but while our canine friends do possess sweat glands,
Okay.
none are located on the tongues. Dogs have sweat glands located in the paws or foot pads, but the primary way of keeping the cool is by panting with the mouths open. That regulates the body temperature by allowing the moisture from the tongue to evaporate, while the moist lining in the lungs serves as a surface for the evaporation of moisture.
So dogs, whenever they're hot, they open their tongue. Open their tongue. They open their mouth, and then that cools them down, right? Do you know that whenever you're in bed and you're really warm, and you had that sort of natural instinct where you want to stick your leg out the covers? Does anybody ever do that? Like you just stick one leg out? Well, that's actually because there's a main vein in your leg. I can't remember which one it is. It's if some main, I don't know. You got some main like artery or like I don't know. What am I, a doctor? You got like a vein that's in your leg, and then when you actually put your leg out, like I was saying earlier on about heating your pulses up, well, that putting your leg out cools you down because you're cooling, and you're putting the vein in a cooler environment, which actually cools your body down. And so that's basically the same what a dog does. So if you're ever like warm, I don't know, if you're in a beach or something and you're really hot, just stick one leg in a bucket of ice and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be all right.
You're there. 9. Toilets breed germs. Restrooms are where you're most likely to become infected with germs, or so they say. In fact, it's unlikely to contract germs from a toilet door or door handle. Germs thrive in environments that are moist and warm and cannot survive long on hard, dry surfaces.
No?
But if you want to know, here are a few places that have far more germs than the toilet. How about the cutting board in your kitchen, your pet's food
Your phone.
dish, computer keyboards, and even your smartphone or tablet have all been shown to have high levels of bacteria that includes E. coli and staph. Chances are you've touched one of those items today. So
Oh my
wash it.
God.
8. Killer coins. Now, according
I've just been touching E. coli all day. No. I've been touching E. coli all day. I've been touching my phone throughout this whole episode. And my hand is now full of E. coli. Perfect time to give Kirsty a wet willy, I think. What do you reckon?
to this popular myth, dropping a coin from the top of the Empire State Building will build up enough velocity from its descent that it could split a human skull in two.
I've heard
Not
that.
so. A penny drop from the landmark would fall at a speed of just over 64 miles per hour. At that rate and distance, it turns out the coin would do little, if any, damage to a person, and it certainly wouldn't kill him, so your skull is safe.
Yeah, because like the heat, the thermal, like the friction in the air would actually slow it down. Oh yeah.
Seeing red. Now, you talk about seeing red, you could be referring to a person getting angry,
Yep.
or to a bull that's about to take charge. In fact, the color red does not agitate the beast because bulls are colorblind. It's actually the waving motion.
What? No. Bulls are colorblind. I need to get like a shock button in this, like, you know, like a trumpet or something. I think Kirsty's just walked into the door. Bulls are colorblind. Who would have knew? I've always assumed that the red, you know, the guys like throwing the red thing around and they get angry because it's red.
Of the matador's red cape that agitates him. And that's no bull. 6. Banana color red does not agitate the beast because bulls are colorblind. It's actually the waving motion of the matador's red cape that agitates him. And that's no bull. 6. Banana trees. Were you ever told that the popular fruit grows on trees? Well, the misunderstanding stems from a technicality. Bananas grow on plants that can grow some 30 feet tall. But those
No. No. You're done. I'm done. I know pineapples grow on the ground, but I've seen videos of like bananas being cut from trees. So
does not agitate the beast because bulls are colorblind. It's actually the waving motion of the matador's red cape that agitates him. And that's no bull. 6. Banana trees. Were you ever told that the popular fruit grows on trees? Well, the misunderstanding stems from a technicality. Bananas grow on plants that can grow some 30 feet tall. But those plants are not considered trees because they contain no woody tissue. Instead of trunks, these plants have pseudostems, which are composed of densely packed leaves. In fact, the plant is a type of perennial herb like an orchid.
So it's a plant. A banana grows on a plant, not a tree. But the plant can grow up the size of a tree. Here, guess what? It's a tree.
And the banana fruit is technically the plant's berry. 5.
Well,
Too big to miss. Ever hear that the Great Wall of China is visible from the moon?
Yeah.
Stretching more than 5,500 miles?
No.
More than
I heard it was visible.
29.
Heard if it was visible from space, not the moon.
Technically, the plant's berry. 5. Too big to miss. Ever hear that the Great Wall of China is visible from the moon? Stretching more than 5,500 miles and more than 29 feet wide, the legendary structure seems large enough to support that claim. Now, in fact, this story has been debunked many times, as it's nearly impossible to discern any Earth structure from the moon with the naked eye. In the case of the Great Wall, it's too narrow, and its coloration and shape blends in too well with the natural contours of the land surrounding it. Experts say it would be like trying to discern the details of a strand of human hair from a distance of 2 miles away. 4.
Yeah, but I've heard that it's still visible from space, but it's not visible from the moon. Like, I've never heard it being someone going, "Oh, you can see the Great Wall of China from the moon." Well, who told you that? Neil Armstrong.
Blind as a bat. Now, we've all heard that expression as a reference to someone who does not see so well, but that's a disservice to bats, since the flying mammals do possess
Ugly.
eyesight. In fact, some of the
Ugly things. Look at that. That is just. Look at it. It's like I'm looking at a bat. That's so freaky. Just its hands are like attached to the wing. Bats are creepy.
largest species can see better than humans. According to experts, all who does not see so well, but that's a disservice to bats, since the flying mammals do possess eyesight. In fact, some of the larger species can see better than humans. According to experts, all bats can see and are sensitive to changing levels of light. That serves as a way of knowing when night has fallen and it's time to come out and play.
So people, that's you basically lied to throughout your life. Like, oh, you're blind as a bat. Bats can see, apparently. But I'm sure I've heard of like sonar, like they use sonar and stuff. I don't know. I'm starting to question the credibility of this video.
Viking helmets. Most of the movies and TV shows featuring Viking usually show the Norsemen wearing horned helmets. That's become something of a stereotype, but there's no basis for it in history. In fact, during the Viking Age between the 8th and 11th centuries, most of the Vikings are depicted either wearing no headgear or simple helmets made of leather or iron. It's thought that the popular image of horned helmets probably started in the 1800s, when artists of that period included the headgear in their interpretation of the raiders. The look became popularized when horned helmets were used for Viking characters in Wagner's opera Der Ring des Nibelungen. 2. Nails grow after death. This morbid myth actually has its basis in an optical illusion. Because the human body dehydrates after death, the skin starts to retract from the nails and hair.
Ugh.
The nails remain the same length, they just appear longer as the skin continues to pull back. That shrinkage factor also accounts for...
That makes sense. I mean, I've heard you fart after you die. Like your body is getting rid of like, the leftover air that's inside you, and you... Oh, I got a button for that. No, no one. I have to change the colour of these things. Please pay your respects to our fallen friend here who died quite recently. You join us here today to celebrate the life of hair
that that seems to keep on growing after the person has died. 1. The highest mountain. At more than 29,000 feet, Mount Everest is the world's tallest mountain.
Yeah.
At least that's what we've always been told, right?
What?
Well, actually, it is correct if you're measuring a mountain from sea level to summit. But if you're measuring from base to summit, the winner is actually Mauna Kea in Hawaii. It's an inactive volcano whose base is located deep in the Pacific Ocean, so most of it is actually underwater. But if you add that hidden height to its summit, Mauna Kea has a total height of some 33,500 feet, almost a mile taller than Mount Everest.
Wow. Well, there you go. That was a fun video, wasn't it? And do you know something? I can't believe that's only got 343 views. I actually quite enjoyed that video. That was from Hectic Express. 5 years it's been on there. It's 340. Why is that? There we go. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of the episode. I've got no buttons for that. Totally the wrong button. Well, there we go, guys. So I thought I'd come on here, do another episode, and 55. I've done 5 episodes in the last week or 2 or something, and just because I'm it's basically I'm just using them as sound qualities, testing it out and stuff. And I wanted to test this little phone thing around the microphone, and I'm really happy. I'm really happy. So as I said before, I'm not going to bang on anymore about the sound quality or anything. From now on, I'm just going to actually focus on the actual content itself. Meaning, I'm going to I'm going to plan the next one. So the next one, I want to do the moon landings, and I'm going to actually fill out the sheet that I designed that I'm supposed to be using. All I do, right? The sheet says Stewie Starts Podcast. It's got the logos on each side. Underneath that, it's got episode, and then it's got a line where I put the episode in. I write it myself, and then underneath that, it's got topic, and then I write whatever the topic is. And then the sheet's broken down into bullet points, spaces for me to write the bullet points. Fun facts. So I'm going to put some fun facts in there. And then underneath that, it's got the structure, the podcast itself, 1 hour timeline, intro plus tune, 1 minute. What I've been up to, 15 minutes. I'm sticking to that. The topic, 40 minutes. And then the advert, 1 minute. And then the goodbye, 3 minutes. And all I do when I get this sheet is I just write the episode number and then the topic, and then that's it. And then I start the podcast. But I should be doing it the day before, and then actually putting in, bullet points and stuff like that. So I'm not actually sitting Google searching while I'm doing the podcast. So I'm gonna focus. That's my next focus now, to make this podcast a good podcast, and I'm gonna focus on this sheet. So no more sound quality. I'm gonna focus on the sheet, and see what happens there. Cheers for listening, guys. Another little episode for you, and I'm gonna take a couple of days break from doing this. I've got some things that need to be done, and I'm gonna focus on that. And so cheers for listening, guys, and I'll see you all in a bit. Bye. Appreciate you being here. See you. I'm just trying to find the